Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down the NHL DFS slate for Thursday, December 8th. We got ourselves just a 5-game slate here tonight where I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks, some of my favorite individual plays, and some of my favorite value plays, and then we'll wrap up the video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals, where you can see 3 of these games are coming in with an implied total of 6.5 goals. The other 2 games are at 6 goals even. And then take a look down here at the Vegas odds, where you can see each team who's favored to win tonight. With that being said, let's dive into a couple of line stacks that I like here for tonight, starting with that first line for the Dallas Stars. We got Hintz centering Robertson and Pavelski. Yeah, these 3 are probably going to be popular here tonight on this 5-game slate, but for all the right reasons. It's really hard to ignore how well they have played, especially when they play at home. The 3 have combined for 26 goals, 31 assists, 57 points in just 13 home games, and have a great matchup to expand on that here tonight against the Ottawa Senators. They have everything I'm looking for in a line stack as well, with all 3 of these guys playing big minutes 5-on-5 and all playing on that #1 power play. And then a cheaper contrarian line stack I like here tonight is that second line for the St. Louis Blues. We got Thomas centering Kyrou and Tarasenko. Now, if Buchnevich returns from injury here tonight, we very well could see him play on the left wing. Still 100% okay stacking him up with Thomas and Tarasenko, because these guys have exactly what I'm looking for in a line stack as well. Again, not only playing big minutes together 5-on-5, but they all play up on that #1 power play. Now, I think we're all aware that this Blues team has kind of had a roller coaster of a season, if you will. Some losing streaks, some winning streaks, allowing a lot of goals, but scoring a lot of goals in some games themselves. So I'm not entirely sure what type of Blues team we're going to get here tonight. But again, based off of the pricing here and the correlation between these 3, I do like them as a line stack, especially considering that they're not projected to be very high owned tonight either. Now, folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. We're already 2 months into the NHL season, but still a long way to go, and I got hockey content coming out for you guys all year long. Now, diving into some of these individual plays here, we're going to kick it off with the forwards, and just because I like that second line for the St. Louis Blues doesn't mean that I don't like the Winnipeg Jets, because I absolutely do. And I talked about how this St. Louis Blues team has given up a lot of goals this year, especially as of late. In their past 5 games, they've given up 5.20 goals per game, the most in the NHL during that stretch, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 44.4% rate. I mean, that is, I've said abysmal in the past. Whatever's worse than abysmal, that's what the St. Louis Blues penalty kill is right now. And I like Kyle Connor here playing on that second line in #1 power play. He's playing some awesome hockey here as of late. In his past 10 games, he's racked up 8 goals, 6 assists, 14 points, averaging around 4 shots on net per game, and close to 18.5 DraftKings points per game. Now, we're finally starting to see Mitch Marner's price creep up on DraftKings, but at $6,600, I still think he's very viable. Currently playing on that second line, but plays up on that #1 power play. And I think we could probably just target that Toronto power play in general here tonight against the Los Angeles Kings, who have not been very good themselves defensively as of late. They've allowed 4.20 goals per game over their past 5, with a penalty kill that's hit at a 56.3% rate. Better than St. Louis, but far from great. And Marner here has now extended his point streak to 20 games, where he's racked up 9 goals, 18 assists, 27 points. Like I said, his price is starting to go up a little bit, but he's absolutely still viable. I then got Carter Verhaeghe there of the Florida Panthers, who's been playing up on that first line in #1 power play as of late. It does sound like Alexander Barkov is set to return here tonight, so I'm not entirely sure we will see Verhaeghe on the #1 power play going forward. Something to keep an eye on. For what it's worth, I think he should remain on the #1 power play, and it should be Reinhart who gets bumped down to the second, but I don't make those decisions. Verhaeghe has been very good this year, though. 23 points through 26 games. He actually leads the team with 15 goals and second on the team in expected goals as well, so the chances have been there, and he's burying on those chances. Now, on the other side of that game, I like the way that David Perron has been playing for the Detroit Red Wings, especially ever since being bumped up to that first line with Dylan Larkin. He's playing on the #1 power play, too. He's got 3 goals, 7 assists, 10 points here in his past 10, averaging around 3.5 shots on net per game. I really like to see that, and averaging close to 12 DraftKings points per game. But he's also a guy that has 20, 25 plus DraftKings point upside. This Florida team has not been very good defensively here as of late too, allowing 3.5 goals per game over their past 5, with the penalty kill that's hit at just a 78% rate. Barkov coming back should help with those defensive stats just a little bit, but this Detroit team has played well too. And then I got Brandon Hagel there of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who has kind of tapered off here as of late, especially on the score sheet department. We need him to get back on the score sheet on a regular basis. Someone who still has 17 points in 25 games, but has cooled down to say the least here as of late. But I'm not really in love with the 4K range here tonight. And he is one guy that kind of sticks out to me in that range, largely due to the opportunity, still playing on that first line with Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, and still playing on that #1 power play. So for me, it's really hard to ignore that, especially at this price. Now, moving over here to the defensemen, I talked about how bad this Blues team has been a couple of times now, but what I want to highlight here with Josh Morrissey is kind of stacking him up with the forwards on that #1 power play for the Winnipeg Jets. Morrissey's got 27 points in 24 games this year, 10 of those points coming on the power play, and this Jets power play has started to heat up here, especially as of late, scoring at a 37% rate in their past 5 games. I then got Miro Heiskanen there of the Dallas Stars, who has also played very well at home this year. 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points through 11 games, averaging around 3.5 shots on net per game, and close to 13 DraftKings points per game. Not bad at all for a guy priced here in the mid-5K range, and another defenseman who's got 20, 25 plus DraftKings point upside. He plays about 24, 25 minutes per night, plays on that #1 power play if you wanted to stack him up with Hintz, Robertson, and or Pavelski, and gets time on the penalty kill too. He's a very well-rounded defenseman who can rack up DraftKings points in a number of different ways, and again, I do like the matchup for them tonight at home against the Ottawa Senators. Now, it's one of those slates where I'll likely be spending up for defensemen in general here tonight. You can see I mentioned that in the notes off to the right-hand side. Philip Ornick of the Detroit Red Wings has been playing so good here as of late. He's now been promoted to that #1 power play, still playing around 22, 23 minutes per night, getting time on the penalty kill, and finding the score sheet at an incredible rate here, especially over his past 10 games, where he's racked up 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points, averaging around 2 shots on net per game. I would like him to shoot the puck a little bit more, but hey, if you're getting on the score sheet, I'm okay with that. He's got 24 points in 25 games, damn near a point per game type of player. I did not see this coming from Philip Ornick, but I'll ride it out right now. Now, one of the value plays that I do like here tonight is Rasmus Sandin of the Toronto Maple Leafs, still logging big minutes with Morgan Riley out and still getting time on that #1 power play. That's really where I'm targeting him, is with forwards on that #1 power play, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and or William Nylander, because this penalty kill again has not been very good for the LA Kings, just hitting at a 56.3% rate over their past 5 games. And Sandin has shown some really nice upside here, especially with Morgan Riley out. He has 17.8 and 19.7 DraftKings points in 2 of his last 4 games. And then I got a couple of goaltenders here for you, starting with Ilya Samsonov of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He missed most of November with an injury, but in his first game back from injury, he did play very well, and he's now 7-2-0 on the season, a really good record there, with a goals allowed average of 2.09 and a save percentage of .924. And this Toronto team in general has just played very well defensively here as of late, allowing just 1.75 goals per game over their past 4. And then if DraftKings continues to price down Hellebuck here in the mid 7K range, I will continue to take advantage of that. Yes, I highlighted that second line for the St. Louis Blues either. Obviously, if I'm playing them, I'm not going to put Hellebuck in the same lineup, but Hellebuck has been way too good here to ignore at this price. He's now 13-5-1 on the season, with a goals allowed average of 2.26 and a save percentage of .932, with 15.6 goals save above expected, the best in the NHL. And as always, going to wrap up the spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is Alex Killorn, killer they call him, out of Tampa Bay. Plays on that second line with Steven Stamkos and Nick Paul. Plays on the #2 power play. He's now got 8 goals, 13 assists through 25 games, including 14 points in 13 home games. He's a guy who can get you 15 to 20 DraftKings points. can be a little bit boom bust, but hey, that's why he's priced here at $3,800. Next, I got Tyler Seguin there of the Dallas Stars, currently playing on that second line in number 2 power play. He's got 4 goals, 15 assists, 19 points through 26 games, but seems due for some positive regression. He not only has 6 shots on net in back-to-back games, but he also has 7.5 expected goals, which is 3.5 more than he's actually scored. And then Josh Leivo there of the St. Louis Blues has recently seen his role expanded. He's now playing on that first line in number 2 power play. In his last 5 games, he's got 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points. So not stellar numbers, but I love the way that he's shooting the puck with 22 shots on net during that stretch of games. And then to wrap up this video here, want to talk a little prize picks with you guys. Had ourselves a good night last night, ended up going 3-0, and want to expand on that here tonight. It looks like we're going to have some good props out here for this 5-game slate. I got 2 that are sticking out to me initially. Joe Pavelski of the Dallas Stars over 2.5 shots on net. David Perron of the Detroit Red Wings over 2.5 himself. But like I always do, I'm going to go through these individually, do my research, and let you know my final picks in a comment below on this video. I'll be sure to pin that comment as well. And don't forget, I do post these in my Discord channel too, if you want to join that. Link in the description below. But for those of you who have not signed up for Prize Picks yet but want to get in on this action, I got a promo code that you should definitely be taking advantage of. When you sign up, use my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF, and Prize Picks will give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. Again, don't have to put $100 in. You want to put in 50, they'll match 50. You want to put in 20, they'll match 20. You want to put in $5, they'll match that $5. They will match anything up to $100. Again, as long as you're using my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF upon signing up. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 5-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.